Hello guys, Gene here, G Squared Tactical. We got the Staccato C2 on the table today. Man, we put a ton of rounds through this thing. It is extremely dirty, probably more dirty than any gun that I have brought home in one sitting at the range. Full disclosure up front, Staccato did send us this gun. We did not pay for this. We do have to send it back to them, but that will not affect our review. I would hope I would not even have to say that you guys have watched our channel for years and know that that's true. We've shot optics that people have sent us because they were garbage, and we don't care if they become the biggest manufacturer of optics on the planet. If it's garbage, it's garbage. And so it's not going to affect our review. Also, we only shot blazer brass aluminum ammunition, 115 grain through this thing. Yes, that is cheaper, subpar ammunition, but my theory on that is if it'll shoot that, it'll shoot any of your higher quality ammunition. And you also know that the reason we do that is because we don't have ammo sponsors. We have to purchase our own ammunition, and so we get the cheapest stuff that we can get. With that being said, we put about 800-ish rounds through the gun. 750-ish of those was Trey and I. My wife put about 50 rounds through it. So about 800 all in all. With Trey and I, we didn't have a single failure in the 750 or so we put through it. Not one single failure of any kind, except for maybe one little thing, and I'm not really sure what it was. I'll talk about that here in a second. My wife, however, she did have, I was almost hesitant to even bring it up, but she did have a few issues with hers while she was shooting it. But I know that it was a combination of the ammunition and how she holds the gun, and not really having a firm or firmer grip on the gun, because she doesn't have that problem with other guns. But it was a combination of it being a thicker grip, 2011 type grip of course, and just her having a weaker grip on the gun, and it was causing it to have a few instances where for her about once or twice every magazine it was stovepiping. Okay, stop. And or just failing to eject fully the spent casing. Again, not a failure of the gun, combination of ammunition and user, so I'm not even going to talk about that. As you know, we typically will try to find something on a gun that we're not the biggest fan of, and the reason that I personally put that many rounds through the gun is because they will typically give us the option of purchasing the gun once we're done reviewing it. And I had already been looking at this gun, so I really wanted to see what it would do. I don't know how many rounds in total had been through this gun, but I will say it's probably been a lot, because when they agreed to send it to us, they said they were waiting to get it back from another T&E. So someone else was reviewing this gun, and when we got it, you could tell that it had not been cleaned. So I don't know how many rounds has been through the gun. I just know that we put about 800 through it. Now, to talk about the one thing that I don't want to say that it's not something it's something that I don't like. I'm just, as an observation, when I was shooting this gun, something back in here and even on this side, but mostly over on the right side here, was just biting me. Like, at the end of the day, after shooting probably myself 600 rounds or so, 550 maybe, just me myself, my hand was sore. And that almost never happens, because Trey and I will go to the range and we might run 15, maybe 2,000, 2,500 rounds in one sitting through 4 or 5 different guns doing reviews, and my hand's never sore. Something in here on this grip, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because it's the compact. I don't know if it's the safety that's getting me. I could never figure out what was getting me. My wife said the same thing, that it was hitting her. It was pinching, something was pinching her. She's not really sure what it was either, and that she was that's the reason why she would loosen up her grip. That's what she kept telling me. Now that may be true, I don't know, but something was definitely pinching in here on my full size Staccato P with the threaded barrel. You guys know that I love that gun. That didn't happen. So I can only assume it's because of the compact grip here. I don't really know. But again, just something that I noted while I was out there. I wish that they would have some type of setup where you could mount like a Trijicon RMRCC or something on here, a different type of plate. Maybe if the rear sight wasn't quite as thick. That kind of gives it a gawky look. You know that I'm a little bit of an aesthetics guy. And the reason I say that is because I'm not saying I wouldn't conceal carry this. I probably would, but I would not conceal carry it with most of the full-size optics on the market. I just wouldn't carry it with an optic at all. And the reason is because of how the full-size optic sticks over the sides, each side here. That's going to dig into my fat gut, or as some of you guys will say, the old beer belly when I don't even drink. But I wish there was some type of option where you could mount on a more compact concealed carry gun, where you could mount, and maybe you can have it sent off and milled or something. I don't know. I'm just saying from the factory, I wish there was an option to mount a thinner, like I said, a Trijicon RMRCC optic or something like that. Of course, that's going to cause you to be, likely less accurate. You're going to have less window to look through and all of that kind of stuff. But in a concealed carry application, I'm not sure that that's going to matter. And as far as the pinching thing back here, whatever that was, again, in a concealed carry, I needed 6, 8, 10 rounds for defense. That ain't going to matter either. So it's not a deal breaker at all. I like the nice, cut out here under the trigger guard. Again, feels phenomenal in the hand, but I like 2011s. I like 1911s. Of course, you don't have that large flared mag well up here. It does protrude out here a little bit in the front, which I really like on my compact guns, because typically I will add a flared mag well on my compact guns because I like the way that my pinky will sit right there, and it'll help push my grip up high and tight, if you will. So it is protruded out there a little bit. I like the texturing. I've heard people say that the texturing on the polymer grip module here is slick. I've heard that terminology, that it's not stippled enough, but it's not really a good day to show to you guys, but you've seen my hands in the past, with having the eczema on my hands and stuff, I don't really like a super tacky, grippy grip, if you will, grippy grip. I like the texturing on this. It's fine for me. I had no problems holding on to it whatsoever. I know that there's all types of aftermarket stuff out there, grip modules and things. You can send it off to be stippled and all of that kind of good stuff. If that's what you want to do, fine. But again, I don't want anything snagging on my clothes. I'm fine with the grip on here. Aluminum frame, of course, polymer grip module. Steel slide does have, unlike on my Staccato P that has that patent takedown coil pack that they put in there, that's kind of slick. I like it a lot, actually. Toolless, because I don't have to I don't have to be He-Man to take it down like I do on my other 1911 style, 2011 style guns. This one does not have that coil pack in here. It's mostly, or just not, it's basically just like a standard guide rod or recoil spring and everything in here, that you take the slide off, you simply remove it just like you would on a, I don't know, a Glock, an HK, whatever. It just, it doesn't come out the same way a typical 1911, 2011 does. You simply take the slide off, pull the spring and guide rod right out, slide the barrel out the front, just like you would on any other 2000, 1911 style gun. So although it's not the same spring, it is still toolless. You still don't need any massive amounts of hand strength or anything like that to take it down. So I like that. I really like that actually. I wish that more 2011, 1911 style guns would have, you know, a toolless guide rod, recoil spring to remove without having to, you know, get tools out of the bag and have the strength of King Solomon. Again, the trigger on this, they say, is about 4.5 pounds, somewhere in there. To me, it feels lighter than that. It's a very good trigger, very good. Got a little bit of take up, breaks right at the wall. Reset is phenomenal, just like on all the other Staccato pistols. Great trigger. I'm not gonna sit here and harp on the trigger. You know that I'm not a trigger snob. Most of that stuff does not matter to me. If I'm a competition shooter, okay, fine, it would matter to me. But in a defensive application, having fun at the range, it might matter to me at the range if I'm just out there having fun, trying to outshoot my friends, whatever. But in a concealed carry, defensive application, I don't think the triggers, I mean, some people say that it does, but to me, I don't think the trigger's gonna matter. But you do have a little bit of take up, as you can see there. It hits the wall, breaks right where you would expect it to. Right when it hits the wall, it breaks. Feels less than 4 pounds to me, but I haven't put a trigger gauge on it. I'm just telling you what the manufacturer says. Phenomenal trigger, very, very fast. I've told people before that I feel like you could probably put this in a machine and pull that trigger as fast as that machine could, and it couldn't outrun this gun. That is one of the things that have kind of set this gun or Staccato apart for me. I haven't had Atlases and some of the more higher end 2011s, but for me, that's what set this gun apart, is just how incredibly fast it is, and you can even be fast and accurate as well. I'm not as fast as some other YouTubers out there. I don't get to shoot as much as they do. We have to work every day for a living, so we only get to the range sometimes once or twice a month, so we don't get to constantly shoot our guns every day. So it's like we're almost relearning every time we go to the range. But out of most of the stuff, now there's other guns out there I could shoot fast and accurately with, but out of most of the other guns, this one is likely the one that I can shoot the fastest and still be accurate with, and it's primarily because of that trigger. Recoil is very, very manageable. Like I said, something in here was biting me. I don't know what it was. Still, I guess we'll figure that out. I just don't know. I tried my best. I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time at the range. The eclipse was happening yesterday, apocalypse, all that kind of stuff. It does have the honed, very nice front and rear serrations. Does have a single slot pick rail up here, just like the other Staccatos, just like you're accustomed to. So as far as the failure that I mentioned, you do get 3 16 round magazines. That's pretty nice. The MSRP on this, I think, comes in somewhere around $2,300, I believe. I think I have seen it actually cheaper than that in the store, but somewhere between that $2,000 and $2,400 range, pre-tax, of course. But one of the things that, okay, so on the Prodigy, everybody said on the Prodigy how that the takedown slash slide lock here was indented so far into the frame that you couldn't manipulate it, and that wasn't or is not the case on the Staccato. But I guess because of the way that I grip the gun is all I could never figure it out. I don't know if that's what it is or not, if I'm being honest. Because it didn't lock back on my wife a couple of times, and she doesn't have the thumbs forward grip, so I don't know. I do hold the gun, you know, like this. That's how I hold the gun. And there was on several, if not more than not occasions, if that's even a thing, it would not lock back on the empty magazine. Pissing me off. Still won't lock back.
Can I tell you something? You put put a P on this one because it's pissing you off.
However, I did not say that it was the gun's fault, because if I simply did that, as you can see, it locks back on the empty magazine. So I think it could have been the ammunition, maybe the underpowered ammunition. It could have been me hitting this slide lock. I don't know. Again, it does stick off the frame further than it does on the Prodigy. I did not have that issue with my full size one. I don't know. I don't know if my hand rests differently on the compact gun. I'm not saying it's a gun problem. It's probably a me problem. I'm just, again, reporting what happened to me out at the range. More times than not, it would not lock back on the empty magazine. Would that be an issue in a defensive application? Probably not. Maybe, I don't know, but probably not. Again, it's probably a me issue. I don't know if there's aftermarket takedown or slide locks that maybe sit more flush to the frame if you wanted to do that. I don't know. I can only assume that that's what it was, but as I will mention, it did happen to my wife several times, and she doesn't hold the gun that way. I don't think it ever happened to Trey. The only other thing that I noticed on the gun is, for whatever reason, when my wife picks up a gun, she picks it up with her left hand like this. Literally just like that. That's how she picks it up. She's not left-handed, she's right-handed. But that's how she'll pick it up, and then she'll grab the gun like this over the top for some reason. I don't really know why. And she'll kind of fix it in her hand, like she's maneuvering it in her hand. Why I couldn't get that out. But anyway, she grabbed it, and when she did, she snatched back. And I didn't get that on camera, and God knows I wish I would have. And I was like, well, what the heck happened? She said, Gene, that thing is hot. And I had just got finished shooting it. And at that point, it had been sitting for about 3 or 4 hours as Trey had left and we had went to lunch. And so it'd been a little while since it had been shot, and I had put 3 magazines through it here. And I think right prior to that, I had put 2 other magazines in as fast as it would have taken me to load it, right? And so all in all, it had 3 16-rounders, maybe 2 other, maybe 5 total 16-rounders before I handed it to her after loading the magazines. So that's probably a 3 or 4 minute break. So I went over there and I touched it myself, and indeed, from this point down, even on the frame, was so hot. I could touch it, I could grab it and hold, but it did not feel good at all. But I have very calloused hands. You know, sometimes Trey's like, is that not hot to you? And I'm like, nah, man, I don't even feel it. But it was very, very hot to me, extremely hot. And in fact, where my wife had grabbed it like that, and I'm subject to grabbing it like that too, to rack it just with my left hand. She's a little bit, she can be weird, I guess, sometimes. She'll get mad at me for saying that, but it literally scalded her. It literally burnt the web of her hand. And I don't know why that thing got that hot. I mean, I have seen other guns that we have shot out at the range get extremely hot, but it was usually on cheaper guns. Again, I don't know why it got that hot, but we mentioned everything about our experience at the range. Could have simply been just because we had put so many rounds through it, had not lubed it prior to that or cleaned it. Could have just been that. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know how many rounds have been put through it prior to us receiving it from Staccato, and we did not receive it with a whole lot of oil. It had maybe a drop of oil on it, but it was mostly oilless when we got it. So it could have been from that. I don't know. All in all, tremendous experience at the range. Love the Staccato brand. Again, 3 magazines, has the sexy little star logo on the bottom of each magazine. And again, we had no failures whatsoever with the cheapest ammo that we could buy. And I love the feel in the hand. Very, very fast, very accurate out at the range. Very nice recoil response. I have nothing but great things mostly to say about the Staccato and the Staccato brand. I have not had the higher end 2011s, so I can't speak to those, but I definitely would buy this gun. And at the 2000-ish, 2200 price range, I definitely think this would serve as a very, very nice concealed carry. Much like, if not almost identical, maybe a little thicker through the grip here as the Glock 19. So if you're a Glock 19 fan, you'll definitely be a fan of this. 3.9 inch bull barrel, nice thick bull barrel on there. 3.9 inch barrel. Again, does have the aluminum frame, polymer grip. The dimensions on the width, the dimensions are 7.5 inches by 1.49 inches by 5.5 inches. And the overall weight on this is 25 ounces. Go out, pick you one of these up. Make sure you subscribe, hit the thumbs up. Go over and check out our website at gsquaredtactical.com. Pick up some gear, help us out. Every little bit helps us to buy more ammo, to keep doing these videos. Again, thanks to Staccato for sending this gun. Had a great time at the range. Nothing but pure fun. Great little pistol. If you've considered it, I can't recommend it enough. Go out, pick you one of these things up. Thanks for watching today, and be blessed.